Am I the a-hole for not kicking my sister out of the house my parents bought for us, for my girlfriend? I, 30 male, have been dating my girlfriend, 29 female, let's call her Leah, for a little over 2 years. About 3 months ago, we talked about moving in together. I suggested we rent an apartment, but she insisted on moving into the house I currently live in. For context, the house I live in is pretty much like a mansion, multiple bedrooms, a pool, a huge garden area. My parents bought this house for me and my sister, 25 female, let's call her Lily, when they moved abroad. The plan was for us to live here until we got married. After my parents retire, they plan to move back in, and this would be our family house to visit during the holidays. Until last year, Lily and I both lived here. She moved in with her fiancé, but I told her she's always welcome to move back in if she ever needs to. Her belongings and my parents' things are still here, so it's still considered our family home, not mine alone. I told Leah that if she wanted to live here, she'd have to be okay with my sister or parents moving back in whenever they needed to. I also told her that if we get married, we would not be staying in this house long term. She agreed and moved in 3 months ago. About a month ago, I got a call in the middle of the night from Lily using an unknown number. She was crying and asked me to come get her. I found her sitting on the pavement with a forehead injury, a bleeding split lip, and took her to the hospital. It turns out her fiancé was cheating on her. When she confronted him and broke off the engagement, he got violent and hit her. She ran out of the house in panic. I had her move back in with me, and we filed a police report. He only got a month in jail because, according to the authorities, it wasn't that serious. We also got a restraining order. Now Leah is upset, saying I shouldn't have let my sister move back in without asking her first. I reminded her again that this is not our house, and my sister is in a really bad situation. I told my parents about everything, and they said they would move back to take care of Lily, so that Leah and I wouldn't have to. However, it will take about 2 months for them to move back, because my dad has a medical condition, I won't go into detail, that requires regular checkups and treatment. They need time to transfer his medical records and find a new doctor here. My parents asked me to stay with my sister until they return, especially since her ex will be out of prison by then. None of us want anything bad to happen. I talked to Leah and told her we would need to move out of the house in 2 months. She refused, saying this is our house and my sister should leave. I reminded her of our original agreement, but she wouldn't budge. I then gave her 2 options. We both move out when my parents return, or she can move into an apartment while I stay with my sister until my parents arrive, and then I'll move in with her. She begrudgingly agreed to stay until my parents return, but has constantly been complaining about how unfair it is that we have to move out of our house for my sister and parents. I've been trying to stay patient, reminding her that this was never our house. The last straw came last week when she told my sister she should just suck it up and move back in with her fiancé, and not burden everyone around her because she's too sensitive. I had enough. I told Leah to apologize or we were done. She refused, saying I was being ridiculous and that it was just a joke. So I broke up with her and had her move out of the house. Now her friends and family are texting me, calling me an a-hole for treating Leah like that, saying my sister and I should be ashamed. I've tried explaining the situation, but they won't listen. My own family and friends are on my side, but I've started to doubt myself, wondering if I acted too quickly or if I should have tried harder to reason with her. I'm kind of lost on what to do. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. You have dodged a bullet. Leah fell in love with your lifestyle, not you. Your parents gave you this house with terms and agreements. She knew your plan and agreed to it. She was never going to move out once your parents got there. Eventually, she would have tried to convince you to kick your parents out or send your parents to a retirement home. Block all of Leah's family and friends. OP, you have a heart of gold for truly caring deeply for your family. Please find someone who will reciprocate that. You will. I dated someone like this once. They never outright said it, but they'd make comments about my parents' wealth and our lifestyle, and talk about how they dream to be part of it, la la la. I always thought it was super weird. That's my parents' lifestyle, and their money. Yes, obviously I have benefited from it, and they are generous, but I don't get how dating me is going to get you near their bank account. It's not like I lived a super flashy life. I lived in a $500 a month rundown apartment, wore cheap clothes, and drank cheap beer like a normal college student. I really hope you're not actually planning on marrying this girl. She's not rational. She's not worth the drama. Her actions would make me seriously consider being associated with her in any way, not the a-hole. The girlfriend wants that house for sure. The entitlement is thick with her. I agree. OP, I'm on your side. Your girlfriend wanted the glamorous life living in a mansion and wanted your family home to be her house. She lied to you so she could move in and thought she could get you on her side in case anyone else moves in. She's selfish and cares more about her dream lifestyle than your family, not the a-hole. You saved yourself a lifetime of drama and future Reddit stories being read out on YouTube. No. Next story. Am I the a-hole for kicking out my girlfriend's sister and her kids out of my flat after my girlfriend gave her the keys? People around me are saying I'm the a-hole, but I need the perspective of uninvolved people. My long-term girlfriend has a key to my apartment, just like I have a key to hers. One unspoken but always respected rule was, if you're going to the other's place, just send a quick text like, "Hey, going to your place." It didn't matter whether the other person was home or even replied, just a simple heads up out of respect. I was supposed to be away 700 kilometers from home for 2 weeks for work. 4 days in, our instructor got into an accident. Work tried to find a replacement but couldn't on such short notice. Around 10 p.m., they told us we'd be flying back early the next morning at 6 a.m. and we'd be paid overtime and get the day off. Then we'd resume our normal schedule. I got home at around 9 a.m. the next day and texted my girlfriend to let her know I was back. When I reached my door, I was confused to hear children screaming inside. No one who has a key to my place, my brother and my girlfriend, has young kids. I actually thought I might have squatters. I opened the door and saw my girlfriend's sister's kid running around after a shower, water everywhere, and half-finished plates of ravioli on the living room floor. Their suitcases were open in the entryway. Inside, her sister's husband was sitting on my couch trying to hook up my old PS2, something he clearly dug out from storage. I immediately got into a verbal argument with him, trying to understand what the heck was going on. He told me my girlfriend had said they could stay at my flat for 2 weeks while I was gone. They wanted to visit the city and go to the beach. While I was arguing with him, I got a text from my girlfriend saying, "Oh, okay, by the way, my sister's fam is at your flat." I'll admit I blew up at him and at her sister, who came out of my bedroom. I told them to leave immediately. They argued and called my girlfriend, then put her on speaker. She said I was embarrassing her and that she told them they could stay at my place for a while. I threatened to call the police and ask my brothers to come over. They eventually left, while cursing me out in front of their kids, saying their holiday was ruined because the mean little sister's boyfriend kicked them out. Now her whole family, and even some people in my own family, are saying I should have just stayed at my girlfriend's place so the kids could enjoy a vacation. Also, they went through my medical paperwork. I always organize my prescription notes a certain way, and they obviously took some of my prescribed meds. An opened box of benzodiazepines was left behind. Am I the a-hole for making them leave? Ever since then, my girlfriend and I haven't been able to talk about anything else. I feel like I'm being gaslit. I would never invite people to her apartment without asking her first, especially not without telling her at all. It feels incredibly disrespectful. Am I going insane? The proper way to do it was girlfriend stay at your flat and let them move into hers. That way, she takes the brunt of the invasion of privacy and damage. But definitely she kept it from you and planned their trip to coincide with yours. This was intentional, and you're not the a-hole. She and her family owe you a huge apology before you get over this. Do not let them walk all over you. This is the hill to die on. I live in a 2-bedroom flat. Her place is a 1-bedroom. Guessing that's why she didn't do that. Only a guess, since I have not managed to get them to calmly explain what happened instead of the absolute chaos that is unfolding in the past few days on WhatsApp. Why are you bothering to try to talk? I hope you got your key back and that you are single, because this was pure disrespect, and they gaslit you the whole time. By the way, your own family sucks for thinking you should have let them stay, especially after you walked into your apartment and found it in chaos. You definitely need to rethink this relationship, because I doubt this was the first time she's done something like that if you've ever gone on a work trip before. She literally mentioned it as an afterthought that her sister was there. Wow. Not the a-hole. If the people around you saying you're the a-hole, then you need different people. Who does this? Your girlfriend was wildly out of line in just giving your apartment over to her family. Hard no, and hill to die on. It is mostly her family and my parents with baby fever who are very angry. None of us have proper kids and dote heavily on anyone under the age of 10, family or friends. Change those locks and dump the girlfriend. It is completely unacceptable. I wouldn't even be talking to these people enough to have them tell me I was wrong. Girlfriend said we could stay here. Girlfriend? Who dat? I don't know her. Get out. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my husband I'd rather raise a kid who stands up for themselves than one who blindly obeys? I'm 32 female. My husband is 31 male. We have a 6-year-old son, Leo. He's a sweet, curious kid who's really into dinosaurs and loves riding his little blue bike. Last weekend, I went grocery shopping while my husband stayed home with Leo. Apparently, Leo was outside riding his bike and left it in the front yard while he went inside to get water. A few minutes later, our neighbor, Miss Robert, came over saying her grandson, 8 male, saw Leo take his bike. My husband looked out, didn't see Leo's bike, and assumed the worst. He confronted Leo, who insisted he didn't steal anything. He said his bike was gone. My husband didn't believe him and told him he was grounded. No TV, no tablet until he told the truth and apologized. Leo refused, saying, "I didn't take anyone's bike. Why are you punishing me when I didn't do anything?" Later that afternoon, Miss Robert returned, visibly embarrassed. Turns out her grandson had taken Leo's bike to the park because he thought it looked cooler. He made the whole story up to avoid getting in trouble. When I got home, my husband explained the situation. I figured, okay, you'll apologize to Leo and this will be a learning moment. But nope, he doubled down. He said Leo still needed to be punished for disrespect and refusing to obey. I said, "So you want to punish him for telling the truth and standing up for himself?" He said, "It's the principle. He needs to listen, even when he doesn't agree." And I said, "I'd rather raise a boy who knows how to stand up for himself than one who just lays down and accepts mistreatment, especially when he's innocent." We got into a pretty heated argument. He says I'm being unreasonable and dramatic and undermining him as a parent. But I don't think I'm wrong for wanting to teach my son that it's okay to say no when something is unfair, even if it's coming from a parent. Am I the a-hole? Now for the comments. Good grief. What kind of authoritarian did you marry? Not the a-hole. OP's husband is less of a dictator and more of a dick. Not the a-hole, but your husband sure is. It's the principle, is what someone says to justify their own self-righteousness. If your husband doesn't change his approach, he's going to alienate your son. He will also undermine his confidence, create a bad image of what a man and father should be, because he will humiliate him consistently until he's out of his life if he doesn't learn now. Either that, or he's on his way to training a pathological liar and a person who is capable of literally anything. If he's going to get into trouble whether he did it or not, then why the hell not do it? Or if he can learn to lie his way out of it, then grows up doing exactly that. Either way, yikes. This is exactly what turned me into a maniacal rebel when I was an adolescent. My parents were going to beat me black and blue regardless, so I might as well just freaking do whatever I want, whenever I want. Honestly, no regrets. It made me the man I am today. It took some growing up to mature my rebellion into what it is now. Parents who don't learn to apologize to their kids are the ones who don't understand why the kids won't talk to them as adults, not the a-hole. That really hit home, thank you. I never want my son to feel like he can't come to me or trust me. Apologizing when we're wrong isn't weakness. It's how we build real, lasting connection. I appreciate you putting it so perfectly. I have apologized to my son when I am wrong, and as a result, he apologizes to me when he's wrong. He's learned that mistakes happen and emotions can run high, but we do the best we can with what we have, and we repair relationships as best we can, as soon as we can. Of course, we still rub each other the wrong way at times, but he absolutely listens to me when I lay down punishments as consequences of his actions. And he stands up for himself in ways I could never have dreamed of. Last story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to financially support my wife's adult siblings? My wife and I have been married for 3 years. She's incredibly close to her family, especially her 2 younger siblings, ages 24 and 26. The issue is, they don't work steady jobs, constantly pursue passions, and somehow always need money. Over the past year, I noticed hundreds of dollars leaving our joint account every month. When I asked her about it, she admitted she's been helping her siblings with rent, groceries, even paying off one's phone bill. I was shocked. We're not exactly rich. She works part-time and I cover most of our household expenses. I told her we need to set boundaries. We have our own future to think about, saving for a house, maybe having kids. But she got defensive and said, family takes care of each other, and that I'm being cold-hearted. I said I'm fine with occasional help during emergencies, but I'm not okay with regularly supporting 2 grown adults who don't even try to improve their situation. She hasn't stopped sending money, and now she's accusing me of trying to control her and turn her against her family. Am I the a-hole for putting my foot down and refusing to let our money go to her siblings? Not the a-hole. I would thank your lucky stars you realized this about your wife before you had kids. I'd suggest counseling, but I don't see a way she'll ever be willing to put your family first instead of supporting her lazy siblings. I'd start looking at divorce, because if you stay with her, you'll always be a guy who's there to support her entitled family. Time to split accounts. She can pay for her siblings out of her own money. After she pays her share of the bills. She's using, at least partly, your hard-earned money to give to her siblings and checks notes. Accuses you of controlling her? No discussion beforehand, no request to send your money to her siblings? She needs a reality check on how relationships work. Communication and trust go both ways, and this is a weird what's yours is mine and what's mine is mine mentality. Suggest that she helps them with their resume and finding stable work that will fund their bills while they pursue their passions. Not the a-hole. Her failure to consult him about it before sending her siblings joint marital funds is the big red flag here, though draining marital assets to support third parties is obviously pretty bad in itself. Not the a-hole OP. She doesn't know how to be in a marriage. This is a big deal. Question. Why does his wife only work part-time? They don't have kids. Could it be that she has a similar mindset to that of her siblings? Only work a little and have someone else pay the bills for her? OP, separate your finances immediately. Let her finance her siblings using her own money. After she's taken care of her share of the bills, of course.